paid $28 an hour, but I'm licensed in Maryland, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. I was the one who was in charge of preparing most all of the individuals who came through, running a lot of the services. The vast majority of the money that I made at that facility was in overtime fees. And I would also get paid additionally, like if I would come in on my day off and do something. They also gave me a clothing allowance, which was like, because for the first time in my life, I actually was able to go and buy nice clothes. Now, my appearance was also consistently criticized. As you can see, I'm a little bit laid back. So in my review, I was told that I was frumpy. Yeah,
they can say that?
Yeah, by a man, by the way. A man told me I was frumpy. A gay man, but a man nonetheless. It was also at one point appropriate to comment. It's, I think it's pretty fair to say my childhood has been unique. And at one point, my employer felt it appropriate to comment on the way that I had been raised and how that had impacted me as a person. So, there's, despite the, even beyond what we're being paid as funeral directors, I think it's really important to note the emotional turmoil that a lot of us go through. Some of us are blessed to have really, really great colleagues. And sometimes management is not so great. Some of us are blessed to have not so great people all the way around the clock. But very few people do I know who actually have management that they feel completely comfortable with and colleagues that they're completely happy with. And I think that's really important. There's a lot of hostility in this industry, even amongst colleagues.
Yeah. Why? Can I say, let me ask this really concise question. Why? What's up, people? Why are we I know it's in every business is has competition or has catty, petty, or I don't know what the heck with the death. I'm sorry, you look at death every single day and you're just like, yeah, screw Sandy. What?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. It kills me, I'm just and it would be, after I got finished speaking, I was doing a talk recently, and when I finished, two men were walking away and they were like, that was the most offensive thing that I've ever heard in my entire life. And I'm like, really? That's the most offensive thing you've heard in your entire life? My talk on green burial.
They said that was an offensive thing?
Oh, yeah. Because natural organic reduction and alkaline hydrolysis is the most offensive thing that these two men could possibly conceive of.
That must be really, that must be really nice. Because I can think of, I can't think of the most offensive thing I've ever heard in my entire life, because there have just been so many wonderful, I might add, things that people have called me and said about me and done to me. And gosh, what was one? Oh, I know. She should pull that stick out of her. Okay, I know I said I wasn't going to swear, but I am going to say this because I need whoever is watching this, no one on YouTube, by the way, but I did sort of mess up and realized that I needed to hit start stream. Who would have thought you have to hit the start button? But oops. Someone said to, not to me, but to one of my colleagues, someone should pull that stick out of her ass or fuck her because she's an ice queen. And I was like, what? I need to get fucked. Thank you for saying that. It's just yes, she needs to get fucked.
I'm sorry, but of all people, you?
I know. Yeah, I have plenty of sex. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for asking, right. Sir. Might surprise you, it was a guy that said it, wasn't a lady.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure that his face was giving him so much confidence that he shouldn't have had when he emitted the statement as well.
Yeah. And it was within the mortuary walls. It was in a mortuary, just in case someone was like, certainly that wasn't at a mortuary. That was just in your everyday life. And I would like to say, No, that was at a mortuary, but I certainly have had many terrible things said to me in my everyday life too. That's just one of the things. So, been called the C word a lot, which is probably why I say it so much now, because now I just think if I say it, wear a little necklace that says it, then you can go ahead and F yourself because I've now put it on my chest. You cannot call me the C word anymore. So, anyways, it's me running with the C word, my favorite thing. I just needed to step in and say that. So yeah. Yeah, I'm so sorry for those guys, man, that was that they had to hear about recomposition, which by the way is why I wanted to name this, in case nobody gets the pun, I'm gonna soil myself is a joke about us hoping that we can be soiled, which I guess we also are as women. We are dirty and soiled people.
Yeah, we are, especially if you ask men in the funeral industry. If I had $1 for every time I've been sexually harassed, I would not need to work at all.
Me too.
How dare we be women in the funeral industry? God forbid.
Why didn't I just smile?
They said I was too peppy and not bitchy enough. They needed more cold-hearted people. So glad we're talking about this.
Yes.
Dude, the bullying at work that goes on. Or okay, so there's a situation where there's somebody in my profession in my state that played to be my friend because I'm a stupid person. I trust everybody. Played to be my friend, took information that I shared with them as their own and repackaged it, and then went for my license when I obviously blew up at them for gaslighting me, lying to me, and everything else. Tried to get my funeral director license taken away anonymously because they were so afraid of what I would do to them. You are the only one. I just want you to disappear. That's all I want. I really want you to disappear and to take everything that I taught you and forget it.
It's so weird, because I guess like circling back to either okay, I'm trying to put my serious nice words on. Jealousy perhaps, or I've always described it as, I think because I think as women we've been taught that there aren't enough resources. And I think that we, like we read things that are like, women get paid less than men, or for every 5 guys at a place, there's 1 job for women. And so instead of asking why they don't just hire more women, we fight over the one position because we think that spot's going to be mine. Like this is my spot and you're not going to get it. And it's like we're being conditioned to fight for one another. And really trying to keep myself from getting super political and start going off on a rant about capitalism and how capitalism teaches poor people to fight with poor people for scraps instead of asking the rich people why they don't give us more money. But I think that they do that to women too. And I've seen it. Obviously, we've had private conversations about people that I've worked with before who have implemented that sort of behavior, and it's disappointing. But it's understandable because we are not asking for more seats at the table. We're just struggling to have the 1 or 2 that's being given to us. And that makes me sad. That's gonna just be my tagline. That makes me sad. So I don't know.
That made me cry. Have you seen that TikTok lately? No. The one that goes, "That made me cry," and I'm like, that's everything. That's me. That made me cry.
Yeah. You're my TikTok person. You're like my. I went on TikTok for 10 minutes before this, and I was terrified. It's too much. There's so much going on.
Now we're at the risk of losing it because it's such a great wealth of information for everybody that the government wants to take it away from us.
Also, again, the conspiracy hat, I learned, so I actually was bored the other day and I went through and read the TikTok terms and conditions, not to put my conspiracy hat on, but it is actually crazy what data we give them access to when we accept those terms and conditions. And I'm sure it's true for like Instagram and Facebook. I'm sure TikTok's not alone. but it's actually kind of wild. They were allowing them to record our keystrokes and things, so they can gain, like, it's kind of crazy what they can gain access to through our apps and through our social media.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, I actually deleted my banking app off of my phone because I was like, you know, maybe it would just be good to use it on my computer. Not to put my conspiracy hat on, but like this, a lot of people in my family are in cybersecurity, and I've been learning a lot about it recently. And it's something we should all be wary of.
Oh yeah, I know. I've been worried about that for a long time. There's a lot of weird stuff on my phone.
Yeah, like I didn't realize what we gave them permission to do when it's kind of like signing ourselves over to the funeral industry all over again. Just
yeah.
Yeah.
My mantra is that I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna put out there that I'm a weird, open, accepting person, so that when my search history gets released, because I have a lot of questions on things and life, not because I have a lot of issues with my physical body, brain, sure, maybe. Just like if someone's like, look at her search history, I'll just be like, I know, I had a bottle of wine and I just needed answers. That's it. Yeah.
And if anyone's looking for banking information, you know, they're not hitting any winners with the three of us. So you better keep on looking, because it's going to be a waste of your energy to come here.
Yeah, no. If you want my bank account information, I would love for you to do something better with it than I have. Good luck. Yeah.
My bank actually called me because I got my tax refund in, and they were like, "You've had an abnormally large account deposit to your account. Was it legitimate?" I was like, "If anyone's ever trying to deposit large sums of money, you let them."
Yeah. My tax guy keeps freaking ghosting me because he's super busy, but it's like fine because I don't have enough money to pay him because he's really expensive. And he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm busy." And I'm like, don't worry about it, pal. Take your time. I do not want to tell you that I cannot afford you this year. I will figure it out when we meet. So yeah, I feel you. What else are we angry about? What else makes us want to soil ourselves? I'm angry about a lot of things, but if you let me keep talking, I'll just keep talking. So, Melissa?
Okay, I've got something. So I have a friend in the industry funeral director. She has a really popular TikTok, or had, we'll say, go backwards 2 years. She had a really popular TikTok. Okay. Somebody started following her in the area and mimicking the exact post that she was putting up, like a couple weeks later. And then like it got to the point where the initial girl was like, this girl is stalking me. Like, she's trying to become me with her content. Like, this is weird. And now girl number 2 has signed up for mortuary school.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like, at what point are we influencing, and at what point are we pulling in people that are mimicking everything that we're emulating?
Well,
because there's a situation happening here locally where I'm at, where 2 coffee shops are accusing each other of the same thing. It's like,
they make coffee though.
The other one is copying their social media posts, so one blocked the other, and the other one's figured out the other one blocked them, and they're just all kind of like, I was like, can you call each other maybe instead of telling the patrons?
What they're like
other businesses.
But are they copying? It's coffee. How do you copy coffee? Isn't coffee like, I mean, I have a box full of different coffee brands right now. So I guess I answered my own question, but what are they doing? They're just like, our coffee's, they're like world's best cup of coffee. And then people next door are like, we're actually the world's best.
Okay. So we're not in a Starbucks world out in this part of the world that I'm in. I'm kind of rural. We have coffee stands that you drive through.
Okay.
And so they're all little mom and pop coffee stands where you can get your lattes or your blended stuff. Okay. So they'll take pictures, or they'll do specials, and they'll post it in the community Facebook groups. And the posts are like mirroring each other, the wording, or like we'll have, if I say what kind of store, everybody's going to know. So I'm going to say, well, we've got 2 pasta shops in town. And one will say, we're having a special on ravioli on Tuesday night. And then 30 minutes later, the other one will be ravioli party Tuesday night starting at 5:30. That's the kind of stuff I've started to see a lot. It's just, that's the state of the world we're in now, I think.
That's an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. That's like, that's like Larry David when he opens up a coffee shop next to, oh my God, was it Cappuccino Bob? Someone, oh man. Anyways, it's one of his enemies, as Larry David has many. And so he opens up a coffee shop, and it's great because he doesn't put any toilets in it, so no one can poop in his coffee shop. And then he just keeps undercutting this like Mocha Joe. It's Mocha Joe. I love Larry David so much. He's like absolutely the kind of petty that I am, just in case anybody wants to know what I'll do if I get in a cartoon freaking fight with you. The just stupid levels of petty. That's why I'm starting my own religion. Because that is my own form of pettiness, but that's like a higher form of pettiness where I'm just, feel like I'm fighting stupid with stupid there. Not the religion stupid at all. I really need to clarify that. I actually really take this very seriously. It's more because I really, really love and care about it. And I kept thinking that I wanted something that fit my brand of love, which is a weird thing for me to say, as I feel that I'm very negative. But I realized as I was thinking about it that I was like, I have some seriously good intentions here. And then I thought, why are you surprised about this? Do you not think you're a good person? So I really have to have a talk with myself about what kind of person I think I am. But very excited about promoting LGBTQ love and trans protection. And yes. I don't know if you guys saw, like, my brand of anger right now is I'm angry at Tennessee. And if I could find a way to troll Tennessee, I absolutely will. Like, I've already been thinking, like, can I send glitter bombs to, like the little things that like explode? Like, can I do that? So I'm an ordained minister now, because the morning that I found out that they were going to start not allowing, like, letting people choose whether or not they could deny marriage to same-sex couples or interracial couples or people of different faiths, which apply to somebody, one person in each of my family. Like, in my family, my grandfather was Jewish, my grandmother was Christian. I identify as queer. I did bisexual. I like ladies. They're hot. I don't know. I'm married to a guy. It confuses people, but I do like women. So little personally insulted there. I don't really talk about it a lot because I think that the world doesn't need another white girl to talk about how she kind of likes ladies. But yeah, so I became an ordained minister. That was my response. I was like, I am going to become an ordained minister because I just need to do something other than post my anger on Instagram. So now I can marry people. So if you would like me to marry you, please reach out to me, as I am now a reverend. My paperwork is in the mail. And anyways, then I thought, how could I be crazier? And I thought, why not start a church? So
yes, I love it.
I know. Nobody is surprised that all my friends are like, that checks out for you. So anyways, I think that I might be a cult leader.
That could be to the benefit of the N Foundation, because I will tell you, Mr. Brian Flowers, who is now starting his own green burial park, let's say.
Hey, okay. Wait, we're yaying, right?
Huh?
Yeah, we're yaying. We're saying yay. I'm so confused.
Yes.
Okay, yay!
Awesome. Brian Flowers is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he told me a long time ago during a walk through that cemetery, the mounds or whatever up there.
Oh, so pretty.
He was like, the best way to leverage it so they can't tell you how to bury your people is to make it a religious organization. Mm-hmm. But he didn't expand on that. So it's up to me to figure it out.
It's to be, that's why that was my joke where I was like, oh, I really need to back that up. Cause like, again, on the, like, don't want to yuck anybody's gems, and the sincere thing that I realized that I always like say that I'm not religious, but I realized that, like, I care so much. I care so much about protecting people and protecting people's religious rights. It's like insane. It is the thing that makes it, And it's like, you will not, I want to love everybody. I want to protect everybody. And it was the thing that I used all the time at Undertaking LA. I was like, no one is going to take away your religious rights to bury your dead the way you want to, because they want to mow the lawn with more ease. Sorry, Forest Lawn, figure it out. Like, I can't. And it's hard because, like, I mean, I've talked about it a lot, but like, I grew up, so I'm from Corona, and I grew up in a really Christian, really, really super Christian city. And nothing wrong with Christianity. All my friends are Christian, and they're super sweet. And I'm Christian also, or Jewish, which is the whole point to this meandering Hugh Grant-esque type of thing. But kids used to bully me. They would be like, what are you? Are you Christian or Jewish? Because God doesn't accept lukewarm people. And that was like the most traumatizing thing to say to me, is that like, these mean girls told me that I was going to go to hell because I didn't know if I was Christian or Jewish. And I was like, well, I don't understand, because if I go, like, one of my best friends was Mormon. So I grew up going to like the Church of Latter-day Saints with her on Sundays. And Mormons are dope. They're so nice, dude. The nicest people. Mormons, fight me. I love Mormons. They're great. I don't care that there's a thing on Hulu.
Not all of them.
I know someone's.
Is that did I read that too late?
There are, but here's my thing: is there are not nice people in every religion. There are tons of Catholic jokes, but there are plenty of wonderful Catholics. There are tons of jokes about everyone. I feel like Mormons get picked on. I just feel so protective. I just feel protective over everybody. I just think that, like, people are not very nice. Anyways, the point is, those girls told me I was going to go to hell. And you know what? I'll see you there. It's going to be so much fun, because I'm going to be mailing everybody sorry. I'm emailing people envelopes with glitter. Suck it. In hell. And I don't know.
No. If it makes you feel any better, my own father told me that I was going to go to hell because I'm not Catholic. So if that makes you feel any better, I'll be right there with you. We can send some really nice postcards, have a great seat at the bar.
I just don't know. We all believe in God. I don't understand. It's everybody. We think they all believe in God. I don't get it. I don't understand. You just want to have just get this one life here. I just want it to be easy. I just want to be nice to people. I just don't get it. So anyways, that is why you should join my cult. I am going to outdo Jared Leto. Coming for you, buddy. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen his alleged cults. It's he wears a really nice outfit. And anyways, I think I'm cooler than Jared. He is fine. I live like in a weird pseudo LA sort of life where I have like contact with him. Like, my husband's band opened for 30 seconds to Mars or whatever his band was. So I'm like, Jared Leto's fine. Whatever, Jared. I bet I could make a better cult than you. So anyway.
100%.
Yeah. I live in a weird alternate reality in LA. What else are we angry about? I'm clearly, every time I ask you guys, I'm like, what are you angry about? Let me start yelling about that thing. We have like 15.
Who's going to join your cult?
Yeah. Who's going to join my cult?
Heidi.
Yeah. Join it. It's going to be a very lovely cult. They just want everyone to know that. Lots of cats. Just someone asked, will there be cats? Yeah, definitely.
I love it. Can we include turtles too? Because then I'm totally in.
Turtles? Yeah. Turtles, puppies, cats. All the animals in the cult. What else are we?
Mascot.
Socks?
I got one.
Oh, yes.
I got one. Okay.
All right.
So recently, Alex with Palehurst shared an article with me out of Texas talking about how, again, water cremation is up for consideration. Again, being opposed by the Catholics Association, who, by the way, would never get back to the documentary people. Jessica Alleman kept dodging them. And she's the one that's opposing it in Texas. As a representative of the Catholic Association. The thing that bugs me is that I tried to get this done 4 years ago, 2 years ago. And each time, like, the Funeral Directors Association after round 1 was like, oh, the only reason we didn't want to do anything with it this time or to help out is because they were looking at sunsetting our licenses, and then funeral directors would be held to the same esteem as barbers and plumbers under the same licensing. And we had to fight for that to be able to keep our funeral service commission from sunsetting, blah, blah. So that's what they put all their effort and their money into. So then 2 years later, they're supposed to be on the side of it, right? Nope. It didn't pass. Should have, but it didn't. And now this time, I mean, you've got my former business partner out there acting like he's been the one that's pioneered this the whole way. Let's talk about this. Here's a good one. All right. He wanted to name the company Rose of Texas. And he wanted it to be a direct cremation company when he came to me. And I was like, you need to get ahead of the game and do liquid, offer it before it's legal here. He didn't know anything about it. And now he's basically Mr. Spokesman, soaking up all the attention. Give him a round of applause. A round of applause for Mr. Newhouse. A rich nepotist boy that inherited a lot of money from daddy and had many failed endeavors before partnering with me. The one before me was when he tried to get into the tissue game because he saw how much money there was in bone and tissue donation. He had a little freaking garage in the most ghetto part of town with an embalming table for autopsies that he was going to have people do tissue procurements there. But he never got, the contract or anything. But that's where he wanted to set up.
I thought at first you meant like Kleenex. I was like, is there a lot of money in that?
Oh no, there's a lot of money.
Like tissue.
Skin.
Yeah.
The eyes, the corneas, all that stuff.
Well, let's see here. Wait, I'm gonna go back to my tissue thing. Silly. All right. I feel like Kramer right now on Seinfeld when he does the Merv Griffin show. Have you seen that? Do you watch Seinfeld?
Yes. I love Seinfeld.
I obsessively. I love Seinfeld so much, but I feel very Kramer right now, even though outside of Seinfeld, slightly problematic. Everyone's problematic, I guess.
Some things don't age so well, but the product itself is still love Seinfeld as a show,
Yeah. Melissa, what are all of our TikTok viewers saying? I feel so young.
Oh, I moved this over to Instagram because TikTok wanted me to pay to promote, so I was like, no.
Nice try, TikTok, but we're poor. We've established that already, so you're going to need to give us money.
Right.
So
please donate.
A recent comment, in spite of so much of the alkaline hydrolysis equipment being manufactured in the state of Indiana, that state's fighting its legalization so hard because the University of Notre Dame pretty much runs the state. In addition to that, one of the legislator or senator, one of the people involved with making decisions like that in the state of Indiana also has big shares or ownership in Matthews Casket Company.
One
of them. Don't quote me on the Matthews, but if you reach out to Sam Sieber with them, with her out there with BioResponse Solution, the aquamation machine creators, she knows exactly who it is and what company they're involved with. And they have a lot of money in traditional funeral care, and that's why they're opposing it. When those machines are out there for bovine and animal, they just won't legalize it for humans. And then you've got situations where it's legal in California for water cremation, but Orange County won't allow you to put the effluent down the drain because you've got people freaking out about that. Do you know what happens during embalming? Do you know what goes down the drain? Why are you freaking out about effluent, which is sterile, way more sterile than what is coming out of our systems with or without embalming fluid attached to it?
It's weird that people, I think that people just don't, I don't think that they really understand what embalming, I think that people know what it is on a surface level, but I don't think that they understand the nitty gritty. And It's interesting because even I think when people talk about what it is, I don't know that, like, we talk about it in episode 2 of the Death Positive podcast, out soon. My husband is mastering it downstairs for us as we speak. But we talk about the fact that, like, I don't really think a lot of people talk about the fact that it's like, well, if you want to talk about grandma going down the drain, like, that's what happens in embalming, is that, like, parts of her are literally going down the drain. And I don't know. I mean, hi, Scott. Sorry, I'm looking at the side. Hello. I mean, I don't know. It's fine. I mean, it's fine or it's not fine. I don't know. I just think that, like, if you're not okay with that, like, I mean, or if you're okay with that, that's sort of a precedent to be okay with something where it doesn't do that at all. So,
yeah. And when I was talking, oops, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, I appreciate the educators, the other educators online that are trying to educate more about their process of embalming and stuff, but we're still not being 100% transparent. And I think that that's imperative for people to be able to make their decisions on what they want to do for them. It's just like we've cloaked and hid it behind the dark cloak of death. We've had it hidden, and now we've got social media, and that's why all these boomer morticians are freaking the fidgetity out. They're not having a good time with it because information's out there that they don't want people to know, that affects their bottom line when people come in to make decisions in the funeral home.
I think that, and I don't know how long we want to talk for on this episode. It's 5:52. I mean, we can do whatever we want. I was gonna say, and again, I'm trying to think because I'm about to say something that I want to be extraordinarily careful with. Because it affects things that I've said. It affects things that you guys have said. I think that all of us need to take some ownership over the way that we've talked about things within the death positive movement, because I think that we're good actors. I think that we're people that have intentions, but I think that we also fall victim to the fact that, like, okay, so we were talking about this in the alkaline hydrolysis episode, is that story at 5, alkaline water is wet water and is good for the environment, isn't as clickbaity as story at 5, grandma gets flushed down the drain, ? And it's like, no, grandma does not. And I think that there are people out there who have posted a bunch of content that's like, embalming, really bad, take care of stuff. It's like very inflammatory and it's clickbaity.
I'm guilty.
I'm guilty too. I've sung that same stuff alongside certain people within the industry. And I've also had conversations with people privately about being more responsible about the stuff that they put out there. Because I would interact with people who were distrustful of me, despite the fact that I was working with someone who was putting the information out there that they were now, like, it was like they were checking me, they were like checking my integrity, and I was like, hey, you need to be really careful about what you say, because people are so riled up and so distrustful. Like, you've got people so so gripped, so engrossed, and so, like, on your side about what you're saying, that they don't trust your own, like, colleagues, and that's a problem. Like, you can't be the only and this person's response was that they're not responsible for how people I'm not responsible for how people take my words, and I respectfully disagree, because that's the kind of stuff that I hear Tucker Carlson say. Like, you're not responsible for how people hear you. You're absolutely responsible for how people hear you. All of us are responsible for how people hear us, especially when you have people writing for you. We are all responsible, and I take responsibility for things that I've said in the past. I take responsibility for whatever stupid thing I'm going to say tomorrow. Lord knows I'm going to do it. I talk so quickly and I don't think about everything that I say, but I think that there needs to be more responsibility is what I'm trying to say. How did I even start with this? And just the like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I lost myself. It's okay. I just got really angry all of a sudden.
No, I get it. A lot of my problem in the past is that I don't have a PR person to tell me what to say and to coach me. And I make a lot of the decisions on what I'm going to post in the heat of the moment because that's when I'm the most creative.
Right.
So I get feedback not from like I'll get pushback from people that say that they are licensed embalmers that body's gonna melt right through that wicker casket. I'm like, did you not go to effing school?
Yeah.
Like, do you not know what a refrigerator is? Why are you pushing me to say these things to you and to make these posts that refrigeration is just as fine as embalming? It's different. But I can still make a body look good, keeping it dry and not letting it go moldy in the refrigerator. Like there are ways to do these things that can give people choices, and it doesn't have to be this one fixated way. Give them the choices. And I know nobody wants to make choices when they're in the room and it's time, but you didn't do your homework ahead of time, so this is gonna hurt a little.
Well, and that's the problem is that like I think to circle back is that the problem is that right now we are in a place where I want to be respectful of all of the people that have worked really hard to get us here, sort of piggybacking on like the post today for like National Recognition of Funeral Directors Day. What is today? I sounded very flippant. I didn't mean it that way. But clearly there were a lot of people that have been working they've been working very hard to set the stage for other people to benefit on this, and thus for us to benefit on this. But I think we're in a place right now where it's starting to dawn on people, and so we're catching a lot of people in the moment of death rather than maybe like 30 years from now, like more people will be more at ease. So right now it's sort of like all this information is coming out and people are like, well, all this information is coming out and I just experienced a death and I'm trying to digest it, and also my mom died, and what do I do? Because that's definitely what I saw, is that like it was like, I'm glad you're armed with all this information, but also your mom died and you were not in a good place right now. I mean, like I remember my mom was struck by a motorcycle 3 years ago. She's alive. But I remember how horrific that was. I remember listening to my dad tell me that, and I was about to take a bath. I had just gotten home from a really long shift waiting tables, and I felt like I had been kicked in the stomach. I felt it. I can feel it. If I close my eyes and let myself go there, I still feel it. I feel that just punch, because I just didn't know if my mom was going to die. And then I extrapolate the fact that I have all this information and I've been a funeral director for 10 years. And I think about how insane I was. And it's like, well, yeah, like, of course people are, I don't know. Of course people are confused or are not really sure how to feel, or running with little bits of information that, people have said that are true, but maybe they could dial back how they say it a little bit, or I don't know. I say I don't know a lot because I feel like I'm like, going on a rant again.
Somebody online wanted to know our opinion on eco-embalming. I have a really strong opinion on that, but what are y'all thinking?
I never did the. It's so super weird because Undertaking LA. So we did end up offering embalming, which is part of where my rant is coming from. When I was like, you can't just not have embalming. Sometimes people need it. You just sing a different tune and sing through gritted teeth. But they weren't eco-embalmed, so no opinion. But I think pro. I don't know. I'm not educated. I'm not educated enough to speak on it.
Yeah, I gotta say I don't really have much experience with it either. I will say that I'm very guilty in the past of being like, embalming is icky. And I've changed my tune a lot, particularly when I took a trip to Ghana and had the opportunity to work with Ghanaian funeral directors to see their embalming process. I think it's also really important to note that the way that we do embalming in the US is not the way that they necessarily do embalming in other places in the world. Other parts of the world have gotten really, really good at figuring out ways that they can take the runoff from embalming and kind of run it through filters and use it in more ecological ways. Places like Ghana, their embalmers were some of the best I've ever seen. And embalming in Ghana can be really important because you might not always have as much access to refrigeration, but it's so important for all of the family to be able to gather. So you might be keeping your loved one for months to even a year at a time. So culturally, embalming is so important. And that being said, just because the embalming happens, they will go and dig graves by hand and build these beautiful caskets. It's not, it doesn't negate all of the eco-friendly and sustainable methods that they utilize. So, although I don't think that under most circumstances embalming is going to be the right choice for me personally, even an eco-embalming, I think it's really important that we kind of think about how we broaden that, because there are ways you can use traditional chemicals and still come out with a not necessarily ecologically friendly, but definitely a more sustainable option. It's just we in the US need to look at it in a different way too. And I think that if we could analyze our technologies.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I was trying to say in my was that, like, it's like when you just say things, when you make an entire platform on being like embalming is bad and the funeral industry is coming for you, it's just like, I don't know, man, I think that might be a little bit racist when you say that, because you're just not really thinking about all the communities that are like, oh, we would love not to have to do that if we could, or if people would be, like, maybe you should dial that back and think about who you are and what your background is and why you're saying that, and respect other people's
City, there's a lot of really, really traumatic deaths where, in cases, if families want to see their loved ones again, embalming and restorative arts, in some cases, the best option to give them something that is less traumatic of an experience.
Yeah, I agree. I think that you shouldn't just be like, look, you should just accept the dead body. It's like, I think you should just let people make their own decisions. But anyways, Melissa, what is your opinion on eco embalming?
Excuse
me. The interactions that I've had with it, it's great that it's an option, but it's not being promoted and it's not being discussed by those that have stepped into the role of educator, that are good at that stuff. Every time I've messed with it, I have not enjoyed the smell. I have not had good experiences with it. The people that I've conferred with about, is this stuff even supposed to smell like this? They're like, well, it's old product. How am I supposed to, as an educator, give you my opinion on something that every time I smell it makes me want to throw up? It's vanilla sweet because it's made with these essential oils. So I still see it as it's invasive. I personally, if that's the look and the smell that people want to go for, because apparently if it's in good condition, it's very lovely. I haven't experienced that yet, so I can't say that I'm for it or against it, but I mean, I'm all about sticking people in the refrigerator, keeping them dry, and then doing a burial. I had a lot of trauma in the embalming room as an apprentice and after I got licensed with the men that I worked with. It's not a safe place for me, so I don't even want to naturally or green embalm somebody. I would hire that out. But if somebody wants it, it's my job to be as knowledgeable as I can be. Yes, ma'am.
We have someone that would like to know, can you explain eco embalming? I mean, I think I know what you mean. It's just the chemicals in it. Yeah, it's just like less harsh. But can you better explain what eco embalming is for folks?
Yeah, so Champion is a brand that has a line called Enigma. And this Enigma brand is made with essential oils that are like vanilla, and then there's a powder, and they're all supposed to be natural and non-toxic and this stuff. Every place I've ever seen them at, they've had them there so long, there's a layer of dust on these bottles. There's no education in the community of death care about how to utilize this product at all. Everybody's just like, I don't know.
We barely talked about it at my mortuary school. It was a real passing thing. But here's, by the way, I just looked it up really quick. Enigma eco embalming solution. Enigma is a non-toxic solution of chemicals and plant-based essential oils. It's shown to be a viable temporary preservation solution. All 4 Enigma products have been certified by the Green Burial Council. Oh, but I was told that at Joshua Tree, we were still not allowed to embalm people even with that. So I think that's a really important caveat right there, is that even though they're like certified by the Green Burial Council, Joshua Tree told me, do not bury anybody that has been embalmed, even with the eco stuff. So question mark?
You gotta look at the ingredients. Like, so I know a lot of our embalmer friend educators have hopped on how it is natural. These formaldehyde is natural in the body. It's natural in apples. It doesn't mean it's safe.
Yeah.
And that's where we start stepping into greenwashing a little bit. And I'm concerned that maybe this product is greenwashed. But again, I don't know enough about it. I wish they would do more education on it.
I'm looking up. Someone asked if we knew what the active ingredient was. I know it was glutaraldehyde. Is that in formaldehyde, or is that what is the active ingredient in green embalming fluid? I'm just gonna go ahead and cheat. Look it up right now.
Enigma in the MSDS.
Enigma. Let's see. It's weird because they're like, it's always like so. I feel like that's why it's called Enigma. I'm like, what's in it? And they're like, we don't know. It's an enigma. And I'm like,
I forgot. So I have asked that before. They won't put it out because it's proprietary.
Proprietary. Yeah.
So how do we really know that it's safe or natural? Pardon me.
How does it work? Ooh, it's a question. It's an enigma.
Yeah. So why can't we be transparent about this? And if you come out with the brand and you're upfront about what's in your stuff first, and then other people copy you, we're gonna know they copied you. Just don't come out with something scented like baby powder that's gonna kill us.
I mean, also, it's like there's Champion, and there's like 2 freaking like embalming, like the insanity that they're just like, no. If we let you know what's in this, people will copy us. Nobody wants to. Nobody is like, I really want to start a chemical company. No, they're done. Everything is online now. It's okay, guys. No one's coming for your embalming chemical solution.
If any of our embalmer educators out there want to tackle this green fluid, I would relish the opportunity to learn from you.
Oh my God, yeah. If can somebody,
I saw Ben. Ben was in here earlier.
Oh, okay.
He's an educator, but I don't think he's still here. I think he left.
People are coming and going. That's fine. I don't want to stay around and watch us.
You want to know what else chaps my hide?
Okay.
Ooh.
I got something else that chaps my hide. What happened to our episode of undertaking the podcast that was recorded at NFDA?
Was I part of that? Also, really quick,
No,
I like that this is a 60 minutes. This is like, is it Andy Rooney? Mickey Rooney? Who's a Rooney? Where he's like, the little clock. Did you guys watch that when you were little?
Yes.
Talks about things that really chap his hide. I like it. Yeah, talking about things that make me angry. Wait, you recorded a pod? Wait, what did you? Sorry, I started talking about Andy or Mickey Rooney. I'm already an old person. I really like it. I'm like an 80-year-old person. I'm like, hold on a second. What are we talking about? Also, Department of Environmental Services subsurface unit will never say yes to the word proprietary. No wonder why you should not bury it. Yeah, that's true. Sorry, reading YouTube comments. Dodge is shook. Sorry, I'm really enjoying the side conversation that's going on over here. Go on. What happened at NFDA?
So our friends at Undertaking the Podcast, great podcast. I've been on it before. They had a booth set up and they took a break, and Ben was interviewing a bunch of folks, and Sandy and I sat down and we discussed, something we were pretty passionate about at the National Funeral Directors Association convention that year was what was going on in education. Sandy, take it away.
Yeah, so I don't think it's any secret that I've been a big advocate for education. I am not afraid to say the American Board of Funeral Service Education and I do not seem to see eye to eye in most cases.
Is it because they use words like mongoloid in old teaching books?
Oh, yeah. Negroid, and continue to define the term Negroid as a species of humans coming from Africa. And this is a book that I used in my college in the year of 2018. Yeah. And the what is it? The associate director of the American Board of Funeral. What was the quote? What was the direct quote, Melissa? That the language in the book is racist, but the rest of the information is okay. So we should just ignore the racist language. Was that what we were told? I think that's what we were told. That, yeah, we should just ignore the racist language. Other information in that book includes things like using milk and gasoline in the embalming tank. So embalmers out there, please let us know when the last time you used gasoline in your embalming tank was, because apparently that's still relevant information.
Gasoline? What, like, are they trying to say ethanol? Like, is there some sort of like world where they're just...
Yeah, there's literally a sentence. I actually gave my books away to people who are going to expose them to the world, so I can't pull it out right now. But there's a legitimate sentence in the book that talks of using gasoline. I believe it's to help with jaundice. I don't remember the exact.
Yeah, they fight jaundice with Eagle brand milk, canned milk. Because I was laughed at for writing a blog about that back in 2015 during my first interaction in a funeral home.
And I will say, I do know people to this day who are, I have seen an embalmer use milk in an embalming tank. I have seen it happen. I have watched it happen. I know the milk. I know some people live and die by milk in the embalming tank. I'm not knocking it. I've seen some of the results it causes. I'll never knock it. But gasoline specifically, when have you used gasoline or kerosene in the tank? I need to know. Milk people use.
Yeah, that okay, so I don't know anything about that. I wonder if I can lure any of none of my friends who are embalmers ever want to, like, none of them ever want to play with me. They're always like, nice try, I'm not talking to you. And that's
I'm
rude.
licensed as an embalmer, so Sandy, let's play.
Yeah.
Not the best one, but I know it. But
all my friends work for they work for not Forest Lawn. And I'm not saying not Forest Lawn. They work for not Forest Lawn. So if you just think about who in California is not Forest Lawn, that's pretty, they're right to be scared. I wouldn't be here either if I worked for that company. I would also shut my mouth. They would own me. Which is why I don't work in a funeral home. I think that that's a really good thing for me. Let me just steamroll over you two again. Because sometimes people are confused about why I don't work at a mortuary currently, and that's because I'd be in a lot of trouble if I was saying this stuff and I worked in a mortuary. I would not be able to show up to work tomorrow. They would see this and they would be really, really pissed. That's why I work in a brewery.
The work that I do, what was I told? That I was unprofessional, cynical, and judgmental. Those were the direct quotes because of the work.
Those are my favorite qualities of people. I like that.
When I was fired from Distinctive Life by my boss's wife, I specifically remember what she told me, and it stuck with me because it was so true at the time, but it didn't ring to me why it was so true. She said our core values were no longer aligned. And that's when I had started attending Funeral Consumer Alliance meetings, getting involved in that kind of stuff. I was still all about, Distinctive Life is about being mobile. But every time they wanted, I was arguing with them about shouldn't. That's kind of been something I've seen the injustices of what's. The last place I was terminated from there, the day after I taught the new employee what a cremation container looked like because he had only been seeing our employer cremate people with Amazon boxes.
Oh. Oh, I think you froze.
The day that I approached my new employer for doing this, aren't you?
Your computer is freezing.
Damn it! How much did you get? I know these.
Some of it. Go back to Amazon box. That's where you had me. And then it was like,
okay. Okay.
What
So
about the Amazon box?
Employee that we were not. So he asked me, why did I see so-and-so cremate a person on an Amazon box? And I was like, we're not supposed to do that. The families are paying for an alternative container. And then I pulled up a bunch of TikToks from great people like Hollis Funeral Home and the likes. It was like, this is what we are supposed to have. This is what people are paying for off the general price list on that contract. And instead, he is taking recycled boxes and laying them out, pulling the body from the cot onto that, and then using that to push them into the retort.
I'm sorry. Let me think about that. Did you just say that people were being cremated in boxes from the recycling bin?
Yeah.
Okay.
On them, not even in them. They weren't even boxes that held the person. They were just like flat cardboard that was pressed down, or broken open. And then, that's enough of a slickness to go in on one roll, but make sure you fish that roll out. That, the roll, whenever you do a cremation, you have to have that cardboard tube to get the thing to roll in. Be so cheap that you fished that 10-cent piece of machinery out of there, or whatever, the 10-cent piece of cardboard. He's so cheap that we have to fish that out of there, even though the furnace is just like right in your face. And the stuff that I saw in Austin, Texas, at the direct cremation places there, ugh. People you want to know why I'm so traumatized? I've seen some shit.
Yeah, some of the stuff that I've seen has been I'm like genuinely there's like stuff where I'm like straight up just like nervous to ever utter, because it's like, because I like don't want people to, because I really don't want people to think that it happens everywhere. It's like, I think that again, I think it goes back to people not being, it's not that people aren't being paid enough, it's that you pay so little money, that the people that are attracted to that job are people that are just gonna take any job and just don't care. Which again comes to like, it's so frustrating, because it's like, well, you can't have, like, funeral homes having stock is just, wow, well, that's just the worst effing idea ever, because the entire principle of stock is to make money. And, spoiler alert, the way you make money is by paying people less. So you have places like SCI where I'm sure that this happens, but like I caught not employees of my funeral home, but I have caught people that I have contracted with throwing things away that belong to my decedents that I did not give permission to be thrown away, because they felt that it would take more gas in the retort to burn it up, so they should just throw it away. And I don't have enough expletives to tell you how absolutely stupid I think that is. Someone threw away a blanket. Susanna caught them doing that, and so I'm only using Susanna's name because in this, well, first of all, Susanna's amazing. I have nothing bad to say, but I only have glowing things to say about my friend Susanna. But Susanna also laid the law down when this employee, who no longer works for the crematory that I am discussing, threw away a blanket, and she tried to cover her little booty by saying like, oh, well, it takes more gas. It's just like, bitch, this is like a 2,000 degree, that blanket is gonna incinerate in about 5 seconds. So and I swear to God, thank God Susanna is the one that caught it, because if I had caught this girl throwing away a blanket that was supposed to go into the retort with my decedent, I would have been assault charges. I would not have reacted well to that in any way, shape, or form. I cannot disrespecting any of my decedents makes me Hulk. Like, I will like destroy you. Do not touch any of the dead bodies under my protection. These are my children. This girl still works in the industry, and it makes me really mad. And if she ever sees this, she knows who she is. And I will never forget that you did that. And anybody that works in the funeral industry should probably just remember that everybody is watching you. I know that people have stories about me, but whatever they say about me is fine, because I've never done anything like that. So Anyways, that's my thing.
Some of the things that I have seen in the funeral industry, they still keep me up at night. Some of the things that I watched colleagues of mine do, colleagues and people in positions of management too, like funeral home owners and management themselves. And then it just kills me because we interact with these people and they keep their jobs and they keep their positions. And then we expect them to, we expect families to be able to go out into the world and trust us. Mm-hmm. And it's hard for us to give families faith in ourselves when we don't have faith in our own industry.
Yeah.
I can't comfortably refer you to do a cremation at a facility where I'm not comfortable with the person who's operating the machine.
Yeah.
Because of very legitimate reasons, like throwing away personal property or using inappropriate equipment such as dustpans in the process of a cremation, or when the human processor breaks, using the pet processor for everyone instead.
Oh.
And then and these are and again, this is not everywhere, because I have met crematory operators that would rather die, jump in the retort themselves than ever do anything like this. And I would like to believe that is the vast majority of crematory operators. That they genuinely do care for people, but there are some bad apples out there. And when they're bad, boy, are they bad, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's like either, 100 or 0.
That's been my experience too, is that the people that I've met in the funeral industry are either should be put up for sainthood. They're just the nicest, most caring people ever, or they are absolute monsters. I never meet anyone between. There's no I love you or I absolutely despise you as a human being, not just as a coworker, but as a human being. Also, there is I hope that they're okay. There's a story going on in the YouTube on the YouTube end that is very interesting. They would like to know more about Austin. The city, I suppose, not the person. But someone is saying that we have Ariel and we have Life Forest. Life Forest,
Life Forest. We've got to talk about something. We got to talk about tree pods.
Okay. Well, Life Forest, she's saying a funeral director friend told them once about one of her bosses would take this hurts to read. Take the suits off of people before cremating them and wear them later. And then we have one of my instructors in school had a story about a funeral director who not only stole the wingtips from a decedent, but wore them to the funeral. Mel. Hello, Mel. That wine sipping is inspiring me. You should be inspired. By the way, I emailed, you're not seeing the feed, but I emailed Final Girl, which, you know what, because in case Final Girl looks at this, I'm going to go grab the wine bottle because I want them to sponsor anything that we do so that we can just be drinking Final Girl wine the entire time, because this needs to be our thing. So hold on a second. I'll be right back. It's over here.
Yes.
See this label. Okay, here, I'm coming back. Okay. This is a not paid promotion in any way, shape, or form for Final Girl, but it is me saying that I would like to be paid to sponsor Final Girl wine. It's delicious, and it's all about the final girl. I don't know if you guys watch a lot of horror. I'm obsessed with horror movies. Yes. Okay. So the Final Girl pun, if anybody watches this, the final girl is because in horror it's all about women. Gee, I wonder why. I like that men are like I like that guys are like, women, why are you always like so upset? Life is fine. And then they write a horror movie and they're like, the killer follows the girl, almost rapes her. She makes it to the end, but barely. And it's just like, so you do know how terrible it is to be a woman. You're just not willing to admit it, but you will exploit us and make money off us. Anyways, sorry, Final Girl, I just used a lot of terrible words right in conjunction with your wine, which is what everybody wants, to have the R word right next to their wine. But I do love it.
I got one.
Is Final Wine watching this and they want to give us wine?
No. I heard of someone who faked the fingerprint of a loved one. I've heard of that too.
Oh, yeah.
They forgot to get it, so they went and printed just any old person.
Oh, that is monstrous.
I know of that happening with pet paw prints too.
Oh my God. No, there's a vet clinic that has a pre-done stamp that just picks the size of the animal, and they're all the same.
So help me God. Again, so many assault charges. So many. I am white trash. I tell you what, I would not do well with someone that I caught doing that stuff. Again, the girl that threw away the blanket, so lucky that Susanna is the one that caught her, because Susanna is an angel. I would have cut them. I would have just would not have been good.
You know, I say all the time, people really underestimate how willing to go to prison I am for my cause. Like, I look amazing in orange, and I'm willing to take a charge. So just go. Let's go.
Yeah.
I would get reading done in prison. Let's do it.
I would also start a cult in prison. I'd definitely get beat up. I am not very strong, but I will tell you that working in a brewery, really, I'm like farm strong now. I have really good
thrive.
Yeah.
I think you'd thrive.
Yeah. I think I could last. And I could make toilet wine. And I've been thinking, I think a lot about not going to jail. And I know how terrible that sounds, but I don't know, maybe I just watched a lot of Orange is the New Black, but I'm just like, oh my God, I can make toilet wine now. Like, I could definitely, I just always wondered how they did that. I'm like, it's very resourceful. So sorry.
Look, all I'm saying is good life skills come from the darndest places.
They really do. They really do. I already have my old girl's paw print on paper. I know if she will get shady. So Ariel was saying that she can compare prints. Man, that's just so sad. Why would you do that? Like, I just don't understand why people, it doesn't take that long to just take a paw print and just,
I will say, to the benefit of my previous employer, one of the techniques, and I'm sure they didn't invent or develop this technique by any means, but one of the things they became really good at is if any of the clay paw prints became damaged, they figured out a way to kind of do a reverse mold and then recreate the paw print so that they were still getting their actual pet's paw. Like, if the thing would crack or it would get smudged, and they got really, really good at like making a reverse mold. And that was cool because then they could give the reverse mold to the families too, and they could continue. So to their benefit, that was one thing that and again, I'm sure they didn't develop the technique, but it was really cool to be able to learn how to do that. Because sometimes things happen and, you break a paw print or it doesn't come out quite right.
Yeah.
But it was really cool. I liked that technique. And I will say they had to develop it because Homie kept spelling people's names wrong. So, but that's besides the point.
All right. It's all right. Do we want to ask, so we have a couple people on my end. I don't know how many people you have on your end. Do we want to ask people there's a delay, so it'll take about 60 seconds for me to get a response over on the YouTube. But is there anything that people want to know while we're here? I feel like we could keep talking forever, especially a dead paw. So easy. It was a hell of a time getting a living print. LOL. Yeah. People very interested in the paw print thing. I don't know if there's something that people want to hear tonight. By the way, we plan on doing this once a week, ladies. Do we want to?
Yeah.
I'm angry every single day, so I can always talk about things that I'm angry about. I can talk about the same things I'm angry about. That's basically what marriage is. It's just me complaining about the same thing every single day, and my husband ignoring me. Oh, Melissa.
Sorry, I was going yellow, so let's just go blue.
I did see the yellow. Okay, so you're gonna do a ghost story. Blue
man.
Is there okay? Or is there anything that anybody that is watching do they want to know? Is there any dirt that people want us to nicely and kindly discuss in a responsible manner? I'm looking on Instagram right now and I'm checking the YouTube feed. I like this better, by the way. I like that I'm not going to have to edit anything later and then get very angry at my computer. Right. Dude, I don't know that if you know how incredibly difficult it is to make a conversation sound normal. It takes each of those podcast episodes takes 6 hours to edit. It's ridiculous.
I'm sorry.
It's so much.
Oh, somebody says, nope. They're just glad that there are people out here that want to make the industry better.
Good. Me too.
Yes.
I'm also excited. Let me see. Looking over here.
Which I think is important to note too. I'm very, very grateful for the death care industry in the fact that I met wonderful people like you guys, and I feel like I finally found people I can truly connect with. As many terrible people as I've met in the funeral industry, I've met some really awesome ones too. Being in the funeral industry gave me the courage to actually come out as gay. I wouldn't have been able, so it's there's some really great people around here too.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing to say, is that most of my friends are funeral directors, and that really says something. That I found my people, and I'm sure if I was like an accountant and we were like having a show about like, you know, the taxing life of being an accountant or something, I would have some delightful pun for that too. I'm sure I would be like, Betsy in the cubicle over is so annoying, and I hear her talking all the time. I think what I'm trying to say is that I would hate someone no matter what job I would have. But I like hating people that I think are actually doing something terrible instead of, you know, being annoyed about some ladies chewing. But yeah, all of my friends are funeral directors, and they're all people that I would totally go to jail for, as I think I've established many times during this conversation. Also, because I might have forgotten to hit start, some people don't know who we are. So would you both like to reintroduce yourselves? Because I oopsie whoopsie there.
Oh yeah, I'm Melissa, the modern mortician.
And I am Sandy, the radical reaper.
And I am Amber, mortician in the kitchen, and also the lady that continues to drink wine through everything that she does. Unapologetically, I might add.
Well, of our vices.
Yeah.
Yes. I have no problem admitting this glass was full of nothing but straight whiskey. So
that is
we
hardcore.
need it to this.
When I was younger, I worked in Yorba Linda, and I used to work for this restaurant called the Wild Artichoke, and it was right next door to a dance studio. And all of the moms would drop their daughters off for dance, and then they would come in next door and they would have a glass of wine, and they would make me pour their wine into mugs. And I was just like, ladies, your kids know you're a drunk, and it's okay. Just accept it. Anyways, I think I like to publicly show that I drink, because I've seen so many women hide it for like forever. It's just like, oh, I don't drink. And I think that I think it's become this thing that it's like a show of you know, and I don't want to say like, I don't want to like say it's like a gender performance. I don't want to say it's like a show of masculinity. I think it's just like, hey, you're a human and life is so stressful. You can drink. Right. And if you don't like drinking, don't drink. You don't have to. But I enjoy it. It really sedates me quite a bit. I've been like drinking less during the week, and I keep sending Will, my husband, a bunch of text messages. He's like, are you coked out? What is going on? And I was like, this is what I sound like when I don't drink. I have so much energy, and I'm so like all over the place. And I think he's used to me just being like, but now I'm like, I'm going to start a religion. What do you think of this cult title? I'm like, well, yeah, that's what happens when I don't have my, what did the ladies call it? Their mommy juice?
Yes.
Yeah. What do you want? You want me to start a cult, or do you want me to drink some wine, pal? Can't have it both ways. So.
Yep, exactly.
All right.
Guys, I gotta cut it short now.
You gotta what?
I've got to wrap up. I have to go cat sit.
Cat sit. Okay. I think that we've chatted long enough. I mean, I could talk to you guys forever, to be honest. But we'll wrap this up. I'm gonna make a list of all the things that I want to yell about at you next week.
We should have people send in things they want us to talk about too.
Yeah, absolutely. We can do that. So, all right, we'll go ahead and sign off.
Next time I'll have wine.
Yes, let me see if there's a good, hold on. Let's see. It's got some cheering. You want some cheering? Okay. Yes. It was a good episode. And then there are these Riverside tunes that can maybe play us out. Let's see. No, that's Riverside. That's a very boring tune. Oh, it's because it's on mute. Wait. All right. Bye. we're gonna wave.
I'm a floating head.
And then I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop the recording. I don't know how to stop the. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, we're gonna sign off. We've been talking for an hour. And
Happy
35
National
minutes.
Funeral Directors Day from
Happy
Lexi
National
Catherine.
Thank
and Heidi
you.
says she feels like she's met Amber already, even though she's met just me and Sandy. We are all heroes.
We are, and thank you. Nobody sign off yet, but I am gonna stop the recording.